For many of us, the dream of a beautiful garden is often met with a harsh reality. We imagine harvesting our own fresh vegetables and enjoying colorful flowers, but then we face the soil. It can be hard, compacted, and full of stones. The simple act of pushing a spade into the ground can feel like a battle. Your back aches, your hands get blisters, and the progress feels incredibly slow. This initial struggle with digging can discourage even the most enthusiastic new gardener. It makes you wonder if all this hard physical work is truly necessary to grow healthy plants. You see the weeds, and you know that even if you dig them all out, more will soon appear. The weeds are another relentless challenge. You spend hours on your hands and knees, pulling out dandelions, couch grass, and bindweed. You think you have cleared an area, only to turn around a week later and see new green shoots pushing through the soil. This constant battle can feel disheartening. It takes up so much of your precious time and energy, which you would much rather spend planting and harvesting. Traditional gardening often tells us that we must dig to remove weeds and loosen the soil. But this digging often brings new weed seeds to the surface where they can finally get the light they need to grow. It becomes a never-ending cycle of hard work. Furthermore, digging can be very difficult for many people. If you have a bad back, sore knees, or simply do not have the physical strength you once did, the idea of turning over an entire garden bed is daunting. Gardening should be a source of joy and relaxation, not a cause of pain and exhaustion. I've spoken to so many people over the years who have given up on their gardening dreams because they felt they could no longer manage the physical demands. They believed that without digging, they could not have a productive garden. This is a great shame, because there is another way, a gentler way that works with nature instead of fighting against it. This traditional approach of constant digging and weeding is something we have been taught for generations. It is based on the idea that we must control and dominate the soil. We are told to break it apart, turn it over, and add our amendments. But in doing so, we often damage the delicate life within the soil. The worms, fungi, and tiny microbes that create natural fertility are disturbed. Their homes are destroyed, and the intricate web of life is broken. This is why the soil often becomes hard and lifeless again, requiring us to dig it over and over, year after year. It is a cycle of hard labor that doesn't always lead to the best results. I remember my own early days of gardening, filled with the same struggles. I spent countless hours double-digging my vegetable beds, following the advice I had read in old gardening books. My back ached constantly, and the weeds seemed to return with a vengeance every spring. I was putting in so much effort, but my results were not always as good as I had hoped. The soil seemed to dry out quickly in the summer, and some of my plants struggled to thrive. I started to question if all this intensive labor was truly the best way. There had to be a simpler, more natural method to grow healthy food. My turning point came when I began to observe nature more closely. In a forest, nobody digs the soil. Leaves fall, plants die back, and everything decomposes on the surface. This creates a rich, dark, and fertile layer of humus that is teeming with life. Worms and other creatures work to pull this organic matter down into the soil, creating natural channels for air and water. The soil in a forest is soft, moist, and incredibly fertile, all without a single spade breaking the surface. This observation made me think, could I replicate this natural process in my own vegetable garden? Could I stop digging and start feeding the soil from the top? That is when I first experimented with what is now known as the no-dig cardboard method. I decided to create a new garden bed on a patch of weedy lawn. Instead of digging up the turf and all the weeds, I laid down large sheets of cardboard directly on top of the grass. I was a little skeptical at first. It seemed too simple, too easy. Could this really work? I covered the cardboard with a thick layer of compost, watered it well, and planted my vegetable seedlings directly into the compost. I felt a sense of relief and excitement. I had made a new bed in a fraction of the time it would have taken me to dig it. The results were astonishing. The cardboard effectively blocked the light, so the grass and weeds underneath simply died back and decomposed. The worms, attracted by the damp cardboard and the rich compost above, so ndd can be saito andapopobal to do and do so when and so was the surface. Endure as they began to break down the cardboard and pull the organic matter from the compost down into the soil below. Within a few months, the soil beneath the compost was becoming soft and workable. My vegetables grew beautifully in the compost layer, and there were almost no weeds to pull. It was a revelation. This simple change in approach transformed my entire relationship with gardening. The first and most important material for this method is cardboard. But not just any cardboard will do. You want to find plain brown cardboard boxes. The kind you get from deliveries or can find at local shops is perfect. Look for boxes without any glossy, colored printing or plastic coatings. The shiny, waxy layers can prevent water from getting through and may contain chemicals that you do not want in your garden soil. Plain brown cardboard is best because it is made from simple paper pulp, which will break down naturally and safely. It is a wonderful way to recycle and give a second life to something that would otherwise be thrown away. Once you have gathered your cardboard, you need to prepare it for the garden. This is a very simple but crucial step. You must remove all the plastic tape, labels, and staples. Plastic tape will not decompose and will remain in your soil for years to come, which we want to avoid. Use a knife or your fingers to peel off all the tape. Check carefully along all the seams and edges. It can be a little tedious, but it is well worth the effort to ensure you are only adding biodegradable materials to your garden. Once the tape is gone, open up the boxes so they lie flat. This will give you large, single sheets to work with. The size of the cardboard does not matter too much, as you will be overlapping the pieces. However, larger sheets are often easier to work with because they cover more ground quickly and have fewer gaps. If you have a choice, go for the big boxes that appliances or furniture come in. Many bicycle shops or supermarkets are happy to give away their large, empty boxes if you ask them. Remember, the main job of this cardboard layer is to act as a light barrier. It will smother the weeds and grass that are currently there, preventing them from growing up through your new bed. It is a temporary blanket that helps you reset the ground. You do not need to worry about the brown ink on most boxes. The ink used on standard shipping boxes is usually soy-based and is perfectly safe for the soil. It will break down along with the cardboard itself. The key is to avoid the brightly colored glossy inks found on some retail packaging. Think of the cardboard as the very first meal for your soil life. The worms and microbes will slowly consume it from below, turning it into rich organic matter. So, by choosing the right kind of cardboard and preparing it properly, you are taking the first important step towards creating a healthy, fertile, and easy-to-manage garden bed. Now that your cardboard is prepared, you are ready to lay the foundation of your new no-dig bed. Choose the spot in your garden where you want to create it. This method works brilliantly on top of an existing lawn or a weedy patch of ground. There is no need to do any preparation to the ground itself. Do not dig it, do not pull the weeds, and do not even mow the grass if you do not want to. Simply leave it as it is. This is one of the greatest beauties of the no-dig method. You are saving yourself an enormous amount of work from the very beginning. The cardboard will do the hard work for you. Take your flattened sheets of cardboard and lay them directly on top of the ground. The most important part of this step is to overlap the edges of the cardboard pieces generously. You should aim for an overlap of at least 6 inches, or about 15 centimeters. This is to ensure that there are no gaps where persistent weeds or strong grass can find a way to grow through towards the light. Weeds are very opportunistic, and any little crack of light will encourage them. A good, solid, overlapping layer of cardboard is your best defense against them. Make sure the entire area of your new bed is completely covered. Once the cardboard is in place, it is a very good idea to water it thoroughly. Use a hose with a gentle spray or a watering can to soak the cardboard until it is damp all the way through. This step serves 2 important purposes. Firstly, it helps the cardboard to soften and mold to the shape of the ground, ensuring there are no air pockets underneath. Secondly, and more importantly, the moisture makes the cardboard much more attractive to the earthworms and other soil life. Worms love damp conditions, and they will be encouraged to move up from the soil below to begin their work of breaking down the cardboard. This wet cardboard layer immediately starts the process of decomposition. It creates a dark, moist environment that suffocates the weeds and grass beneath it. They can no longer photosynthesize, so they begin to die back. As they decay, their roots and leaves add valuable organic matter directly to the soil. You are essentially composting them in place. This foundational layer is the key to the whole system. It is a simple, physical barrier that stops weeds without any digging or chemical weed killers. You are creating a clean slate for your garden, using a recycled material that will ultimately feed the soil. It is a truly elegant and effective solution. Alright, with your watered cardboard foundation in place, it is time for the most exciting part, adding the compost. This is the layer where your plants will actually grow. You need to cover the entire area of cardboard with a deep layer of organic matter. I recommend a depth of about 6 inches, or, around 15 centimeters. This might seem like a lot, but honestly, this is the nourishment for your plants and for the soil life. It is their home and their food source for the first year. This layer provides the instant fertility that allows you to plant into your new bed straight away. You do not have to wait for the soil underneath to improve. The type of compost you use is important. You can use your own homemade compost if you have it, which is always a fantastic choice. Well-rotted manure, mushroom compost, or good quality multi-purpose compost from a garden center will also work beautifully. The key is that it should be a dark, crumbly, and soil-like material. Avoid using woody, chunky mulches for this main growing layer, as they can lock up nitrogen as they decompose. You want a material that is ready to provide nutrients to your plants from day one. Spread it evenly over the cardboard, creating a level and consistent bed. Once you have spread your compost, you have officially created your new no-dig garden bed. It is ready for planting immediately. This is another major advantage of this method. You can plant seeds or small plants directly into the compost layer on the very same day you build the bed. For larger plants, you might need to make a small hole in the compost. For something like a potato, you can simply push it down into the compost layer. The roots of your new plants will happily grow throughout this nutrient-rich compost, getting everything they need to establish themselves quickly and strongly. There is an optional final touch you can add. If you have any concerns about weeds in the compost you have used, you can add a very thin layer of fine, weed-free compost or potting mix on the very top. This is especially helpful if you are sowing very small seeds, as it gives them a fine, clean surface to germinate in. You can also add a liquid feed to give your new plants an extra boost, though it is not strictly necessary if your compost is good quality. And that's it. The main work is done. You have built a fertile, weed-free garden bed in just a matter of hours, without a single moment of back-breaking digging. The real magic of no-dig gardening happens beneath the surface, hidden from our eyes. By laying down cardboard and compost, you are not just suppressing weeds, you are creating the perfect habitat for an army of tiny, unseen workers. The most visible of these are the earthworms. When you stop digging, you stop destroying their burrows and disrupting their life cycle. Attracted by the moist cardboard and the rich organic matter of the compost, they move towards the surface. They are nature's master plows and cultivators, and they work for you tirelessly, free of charge. Earthworms perform several vital jobs in a no-dig garden. They pull pieces of the decomposing cardboard and compost down from the surface into the soil below. As they move through the soil, they create a network of tunnels. These tunnels act like channels, allowing air and water to penetrate deep into the ground. This natural aeration is far more effective and gentle than what you could ever achieve with a spade or fork. The soil becomes lighter and less compacted, all without you having to lift a finger. The worms are doing the digging for you, improving the soil structure from the bottom up. Alongside the worms are trillions of other microscopic organisms, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and many more. This is what we call the soil food web. These microbes are essential for a healthy garden. They are the ones who break down the organic matter, the compost, the dead roots, and the cardboard into the basic nutrients that plants can absorb. They are like tiny chefs, cooking up a feast for your vegetables. A particularly important group are the mycorrhizal fungi, which form a symbiotic relationship with plant roots. They create a vast network, extending far beyond the roots themselves, helping the plants to access water and nutrients from a much larger area of soil. When you dig, you tear this intricate web apart. You expose the delicate fungal threads and beneficial bacteria to the sun and air, which can kill them. This is why dug soil often becomes lifeless and dependent on chemical fertilizers. In a no-dig garden, you protect and nurture this soil food web. By continually adding compost to the surface, you are providing a steady supply of food for these microbes. They thrive, multiply, and in turn, create a rich, fertile, and resilient soil. Your garden becomes a self-sustaining ecosystem full of life that gets better and better every single year. One of the most immediate and gratifying rewards of switching to a no-dig garden is the dramatic reduction in weeding. Because you are not digging, you are not bringing dormant weed seeds from deep in the soil up to the surface where they can germinate. The initial layer of cardboard smothers almost all of the existing weeds. Any new weeds that arrive, perhaps blown in by the wind, will land on the surface of your soft compost. Their roots will be shallow and have a very loose grip. This means you can pull them out with incredible ease, often with just your thumb and forefinger. The chore of weeding becomes a quick and almost effortless task. Another wonderful benefit is the improvement in your soil structure. No-dig soil becomes beautifully soft and friable. Because the worms and microbes are left undisturbed to do their work, the soil becomes full of air pockets and stable aggregates. It develops a wonderful, crumbly texture that plant roots love to grow through. You will find that planting is a joy. You can often make a hole for a new seedling with just your hands. This soft soil also holds onto water much more effectively. The high content of organic matter acts like a sponge, absorbing rainfall and releasing it slowly to your plants. This means you need to water less often, saving you time and conserving a precious resource. Perhaps the most important benefit, especially for those with physical limitations, is the accessibility of this method. Gardening should be for everyone, regardless of their age or physical ability. No-dig gardening removes the biggest physical barrier, the heavy work of digging. Creating and maintaining the beds requires only light surface work. You are spreading compost, not turning heavy soil. This makes it a perfect approach for seniors, people with back problems, or anyone who finds digging too strenuous. It allows people to continue gardening for many more years, or even to start for the first time, enjoying all the mental and physical benefits that come from growing your own food. Finally, the plants themselves are healthier and more productive. In a stable, undisturbed soil ecosystem, plants can form strong relationships with beneficial microbes, like mycorrhizal fungi. This helps them to access a wider range of nutrients and water, making them more resilient to drought and disease. The constant supply of nutrients from the decomposing compost on the surface provides a steady, slow-release feed. You will find that your vegetables have better flavor and your flowers are more vibrant. The garden becomes a more productive and resilient system because you are working in harmony with nature, not against it. The rewards are truly abundant. Once your no-dig beds are established, maintaining them is wonderfully simple. The guiding principle remains the same. Do not dig the soil and feed it from the top. The main task you will have each year is to add a fresh layer of compost to the surface of your beds. This is best done in the autumn or winter, after you have cleared the last of your summer crops. This gives the worms and microbes all winter to work on incorporating the new organic matter, preparing the bed for spring planting. You do not need to add as much as you did in the first year. A layer of 1 to 2 inches, or about 3 to 5 centimeters, is usually sufficient to replenish the nutrients. This annual top dressing of compost serves multiple purposes. It continues to feed the soil life, ensuring that the worms and microbes have a steady food source. This keeps the soil structure healthy, aerated, and full of life. It also provides all the nutrients your plants will need for the coming season, eliminating the need for most chemical fertilizers. Furthermore, this mulch of compost acts as a weed suppressant. It buries any annual weed seeds that may have landed on the surface, preventing them from germinating. It is a simple, single action that takes care of feeding, soil structure, and weed control all at once. Throughout the growing season, your main tasks will be planting, watering, and harvesting. Weeding, as mentioned before, will be minimal and very easy. You will notice that your soil retains moisture much better, but you will still need to water during dry spells, especially for thirsty plants or new seedlings. Because the soil is so healthy and full of life, your plants will be more resilient, but it is always good to keep an eye out for any pests or diseases. A healthy garden is much better at defending itself, but sometimes a little intervention is needed. The key is that you are spending your time tending to your plants, not battling the soil. If you find that some areas of your bed become a little compacted from foot traffic, or if a stubborn perennial weed like bindweed manages to push through, there is no need to panic. For compaction, you can gently loosen the very top layer of compost with a hand fork, being careful not to go down into the soil below. For a persistent weed, you can use a trowel to dig out that one specific plant and its roots. The rule is no digging, but this refers to the wholesale turning over of the soil. Dealing with an individual problem plant is just targeted maintenance. The integrity of the bed and its soil life remains intact. I hope this exploration of no-dig gardening has inspired you. It is more than just a technique, it is a change in mindset. It is about understanding that soil is a living, breathing ecosystem, not just an inert substance to be broken and turned. By choosing to stop digging, you're choosing to become a partner with nature. You're creating the conditions for life to flourish, and in return, that life will create a beautiful and productive garden for you. It is a gentler, kinder, and ultimately more effective way to grow. It replaces backbreaking labor with the simple, satisfying act of feeding the soil. I want to extend a warm invitation to everyone to try this method. It does not matter if you are a complete beginner, feeling overwhelmed, or a seasoned gardener tired of the constant digging. It does not matter if you have a large allotment or just a small patch of lawn you want to convert. Start small if you like. Make one no-dig bed this autumn. Lay down your cardboard, cover it with compost, and see what happens. I am confident that by next summer, you will be amazed by the results. You will be delighted by the lack of weeds, the softness of the soil, and the health of your plants. This method makes gardening accessible to all. It empowers people who thought their gardening days were over due to physical constraints. It gives new gardeners a path to success without the initial pain and discouragement of heavy digging. It allows you to spend more of your precious time enjoying your garden, watching things grow, harvesting your own food, and connecting with the natural world. Gardening should be a source of joy, peace, and satisfaction. The no-dig method helps to ensure that it is exactly that. It is a way of gardening that is good for you, good for your plants, and good for the planet. So, I encourage you to give it a go. Find some cardboard, source some compost, and begin your no-dig journey. You have nothing to lose but your spade, and a whole world of easier, more joyful gardening to gain. You will be creating a haven for wildlife, improving your soil year after year, and growing healthier, more delicious food. It is a simple change that can have a profound impact on your garden and on your enjoyment of it. Welcome to the wonderful world of no-dig. Happy gardening.